Shame on you. Shame on you, Page 6 and Deadline. Hello, my fam. Perez Hilton here, the queen of all media, the original influencer, and your number one source for everything It Ends With Us saga. And I'm heated. And I'm grateful. I am grateful that I've put in the work and read everything going on for the last few months. Every complaint, every memo, everything. And having read every court filing, it's shocking to me that neither Page 6 nor Deadline have stated the obvious. Both of those publications just ran articles about this latest court filing from Stephanie Jones. Stephanie Jones is Justin Baldoni's former publicist who has sued him for breach of contract. She actually was the first of anybody to drop a lawsuit. He countersued and blah, 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 blah. Stephanie Jones, though, is a key player in all of this drama. She used to employ Jen Abel to work for him. Jen Abel is his current publicist, and a lot of the text messages from Jen Abel and his crisis PR expert Melissa Nathan have been used against Baldoni to make him look bad, specifically in the New York Times article, which he sued the New York Times over, claiming that they cherry-picked the messages and that they edited out important context. Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, who is also my lawyer, but has not given me any information, no exclusives or scoops, not influenced me in any way, I can think for myself. Brian Friedman has argued in the public and in his own court filings that Stephanie Jones leaked these text messages not just to the New York Times, but also to other media. That's not true, though, says Stephanie Jones, and her latest legal filing says that Baldoni's lawsuit against her is without merit. Quote, Wayfarer's breach of contract counterclaim primarily rests on specious allegations that Jones and JonesWorks leaked confidential information in breach of the services agreement between JonesWorks and Wayfarer. This fails on numerous fronts. First, there was no leak. Information was produced pursuant to a subpoena. Wayfarers willfully avoids this reality to advance its publicity-seeking leak narrative, but they cannot change the subpoena. The reporting that has dominated the news, smear campaigns against Jones, personal jabs, false allegations she was behind the lively smear, etc., have quite literally zero to do with the lawsuit Jones has filed. As these filings make clear, and this brief reinforces in plain terms, Jones's lawsuit isn't one about a movie or the drama surrounding it. It's about whether a former client and a former employee, Jen Abel, broke their contractual obligations. Whether it was Abel stealing droves of confidential documents or Wayfarer and Baldoni failing to pay JonesWorks, it is abundantly clear these defendants are in violation of the law. And in a separate statement to Deadline, a lawyer for Stephanie Jones says that these distraction games in the press being played by Jen Abel and Wayfarer are a desperate diversion from the reality that they have no answer for their blatant misconduct and have yet to produce a shred of evidence disproving Ms. Jones's claims. They may wish it weren't the case, but the fact remains that Baldoni's Wayfarer Studios and Miss Abel brazenly and repeatedly breached their contractual obligations to Miss Jones and Jones Works, shamelessly framing her as the culprit behind the smear campaign they themselves created targeting Miss Lively. Okay, shame on Deadline especially, and shame on Page 6. It's clear that these two articles were written because they were planted. Clear to me, okay? Clear as an opinion. Meaning, either Steph Jones herself or her lawyers, who gave a statement to Deadline, reached out to Deadline and the New York Post and their Page 6 to run stories about this. However, there are two glaring things that neither of these publications mentioned. Very important pieces of information. First, as a reminder, the New York Times article at the center of so much of this drama was published in December. Both Deadline and Page 6 claim in their articles that they saw the subpoena served to Stephanie Jones. The subpoena was dated October. Some of my fellow mommy sleuths and daddy sleuths instantly are going to know what I'm going to mention next. For those of you paying attention or not, Jen Abel, his current publicist, who used to work for Stephanie Jones at Jones Works, was fired unceremoniously, very inappropriately, according to Jen Abel, in August. She was forced to hand over her phone and laptop. In August, she was fired. August. The subpoena that now Deadline and Page 6 are talking about was served to Stephanie Jones in October, as has already been submitted to the court by Team Baldoni. The very same day that Jen Abel was fired back in August and her phone and laptop were taken from her, Delulu's publicist, Leslie Sloan, somehow got access to Jen Abel's text messages that day in August, 2 months before the subpoena. And remember, as was already submitted to the court, Leslie Sloan, Pinocchio's publicist, told Jen Abel, "Oh, I'm going to sue you. You're going to be sued. Remember that? Because I remember that." And I'm pretty sure Deadline and Page 6 remember that too, but they conveniently left it out of their articles. Why? Because the articles were most likely planted by publicist Stephanie Jones. Additionally, neither Page 6 nor Deadline mentioned that, as has already been submitted to court, his team has mentioned that they had cause for terminating Stephanie Jones. Multiple actions of cause, from not listening to them and their directives, to behaving erratically, making threats, causing trouble for them. Stephanie Jones, I remember freaking everything because I read it all. Stephanie Jones was yapping it up according to one of his many legal filings with the Daily Mail. And that caused so much drama with her publicist, Leslie Sloan. Remember? I remember. And these are just a few of the many examples why Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios had absolutely every right to fire Stephanie Jones for breach of contract. Page 6 and Deadline knows this and conveniently did not mention any of it in their articles. Do better. Thankfully, I am not beholden to anyone, and I will tell you all the truth. Sorry, I got heated, y'all. Okay, my friend, that is it for now. Until we meet again in this ongoing, thankfully, I love it, never ending, it ends with us saga. Thoughts? Let's discuss it all in the comment section.